The new capital of Heijōkyō was created in Nara. A massive statue of Buddha was erected for the protection of the nation. And the nobles were engaged in political maneuvering, conspiracies, and intrigues. These are some of the events that took place in the Nara period, the age of power struggles and state Buddhism. Konnichiwa. Hello and welcome to another edition of Talk About Japan. I'm Mitsuaki, your guide to Japan. Japan's long and rich history is divided into different periods and eras. Today, we'll focus on Nara period. Nara period is known as the age of a brilliant Buddhist culture, but it was also marked by fierce power struggles between the nobility. In this video, we'll be looking at some of the key events and cultural achievements that took place in this significant era. では、始めましょう! Nara period refers to the years from 710 to 794, roughly corresponding to the period when the country's capital was located in modern-day Nara city. The capital, known as Heijōkyō, was established in 710 by the Empress Genmei. Heijōkyō was modeled after Chang'an, the capital of Tang China, with a grid pattern city plan. Here in Nara Park, some of the renowned temples and shrines from Nara period still stand today. It is today a popular tourist destination where visitors can enjoy beautiful historical buildings, while meeting and feeding lovely deer. However, if you thought that the men and women of the Nara period enjoyed an idyllic and peaceful life, you would be mistaken. The Nara period was a time of power struggle, intrigue, and conspiracy. Politics in the Nara period was dominated by power struggles between the Fujiwara clan and anti-Fujiwara, with balance of power constantly shifting between the two factions. Fujiwara clan was founded by Kamatari. Kamatari was a 7th century statesman who played a key role in the Taika reform of 645. The reform began with a bloody coup and contributed to strengthening the emperor's authority. After Kamatari's death, his son Fuhito succeeded the leadership position in the government as a trusted advisor to the emperor's Jito. Fuhito died in 710. He had 4 sons, but it was Prince Nagaya who took control of the government, not Fuhito's sons. Prince Nagaya was a grandson of Emperor Tenmu. He appointed the royal family to key positions, and the Fujiwara were kept away from the center of power. This infuriated the Fujiwara brothers. They came up with a plan to remove the prince, exploiting the recent death of the emperor's young son. Fujiwara brothers falsely accused Prince Nagaya of treason, blaming the prince for having cursed and killed the emperor's son using a black magic. Fujiwara's forces surrounded his residence and forced him to commit suicide. Prince Nagaya decided it was over and killed himself, his wife, and children. The coup is known as the Prince Nagaya incident. Prince Nagaya was eliminated. Fujiwara brothers seized power, but their glory was short-lived. A smallpox epidemic broke out in Japan, wiping out as many as 1/3 of the population. The 4 brothers died of smallpox one after another. People rumored that Prince Nagaya's vengeful spirit killed them. The leadership shifted from the Fujiwara to Tachibana-no-Moroe, a non-Fujiwara aristocrat. Tachibana-no-Moroe was an aristocrat with imperial lineage and a close aide of the Emperor Shomu. Here, a large-scale rebellion erupted in Kyushu. Hirotsugu, a grandson of Fuhito, was dissatisfied with Moroe's cold treatment of the Fujiwara. In 740, he raised an army to demand the elimination of anti-Fujiwara elements within the government. Hirotsugu's forces and the government army clashed in northern Kyushu. After a fierce battle, the government army defeated Hirotsugu's forces. Hirotsugu tried to escape but was captured and executed. The reigning emperor Shomu was shocked with all these events. All of a sudden, the emperor announced the relocation of the capital to Kunikyo in modern-day Kyoto. 4 years later, relocated the capital to Naniwa Palace in modern-day Osaka. Then, several months later, to Shigaraki Palace in modern-day Shiga. And finally, relocated the capital back to Heijōkyo 5 years after he had first left. Repeated relocation of the capital had no effect to improve the situation any better. On the contrary, it only strained the government finances. During 5 years of wandering, the emperor decided to rely on the power of Buddha. The emperor issued a decree for nationwide establishment of provincial temples in 741 and for building the Great Buddha in 743. Almost a decade later, the Great Buddha was completed and the eye-opening ceremony was held. It is estimated that a total of 2.6 million people were employed to build the Great Buddha in a country that had an estimated population of 6 million at that time. Looking at culture, the Emperor Shomu's measures to promote Buddhism led to the construction of a number of magnificent temples in Nara, with fine pieces of sculpture. The aristocratic culture that developed around the Heijōkyo capital is known as Tenpyo culture, characterized by heavy influence from Tang China. The Tenpyo culture is also known for the blossoming of the country's earliest literary works. Manyoshu, literally anthology of 10,000 leaves, is the earliest collection of Japanese poetry known as waka, compiled during the Nara period. Manyoshu contains over 4,500 poems composed by people virtually from all walks of life, from emperors to court aristocrats to soldiers and peasants, covering diverse topics from nature, love to grief. And during the Nara period, the oldest surviving history books in Japan, namely Kojiki, or the records of ancient matters, and the Nihon Shoki, the chronicles of Japan, were compiled, covering the period from the country's mythical origins to some of the earliest historical emperors. Back to political history. The late Nara period was marked by the rise and fall of the Buddhist monk by the name of Dokyo, who seized power from the Fujiwara clan. Dokyo won the favor of Empress Shotoku when he nursed her through her illness. In 765, the Empress Shotoku appointed Dokyo as Daijo Daijin Zenji, the highest rank in the court, giving him authority over both civil and religious affairs. Backed by Empress Shotoku, Dokyo even attempted to seize the throne, claiming that the divine oracle had ordained him as the next emperor. However, Dokyo's attempt was thwarted by Wakeno Kiyomaro, an aristocrat who revealed that the oracle was false. After the Empress Shotoku passed away in 770, Dokyo lost his backing within the imperial court. He was banished to Shimotsuke province in modern-day Tochigi prefecture, where he ended his life in solitude in 772. After the death of the Empress Shotoku, the Fujiwara again seized power. Momokawa, the grandson of Fuhito, installed the Emperor Konin on the throne, who was succeeded by the Emperor Kammu, who took throne in 781. Nara period, an age of fierce and dizzy power struggles, was coming to an end. The country now enters Heian period. These are some of the events that took place in the Nara period, the age of power struggles and state Buddhism. Thank you for watching. ありがとうございました。さよなら。